Thanks everyone for attending tonight, and I hope that you had some fun. We have 43 images actually, so we have every single one of the raw images that we put in the Dropbox, we have multiple versions of. So I think you're going to find it really interesting because everybody has submitted something that's very different for each image. I want to thank the photographers who submitted those raws. And what we've also done is I've put at the beginning of the photo, the raw image as you would have seen it, and then I've put everyone's edits. And then at the end, I've put the photographer's version when they did their final edits. So because we have so many images, we only really have about 2 minutes per person to talk about what they did and if they had any issues. So if you can, when your image comes up, if you'd like to say something about it, please do, but please try to keep it to within about 2 minutes because we won't get through all of them otherwise. But some of the images that are here, I laughed out loud when I was loading them into Lightroom because they're so funny that it looks like a lot of people had a lot of fun doing this. So yeah, so let's get started anyway. So I'm going to share the
Barney made
Lightroom.
It with his wife.
Barney made it. So.
Finally.
He's here. Okay. So this is the first image, which I think this is Michael's image, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was the raw. The first version we have here is Candy's. Candy, do you want to talk a little bit about what you did with this?
I think with this one, I did it all in Lightroom. So I just turned it to black and white and used a lot of the tools to I used the radial filter to vignette the background a little darker. I then used the brush and painted in the dog's eyes and some of the light fur on the dogs. And then I did send it over into Photoshop and get rid of the really bright lights that were in the background. So I didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, I see you
Nice.
cropped out that big bright window too, or whatever.
Yes, I cropped that out, but I liked the start sign above his head, so I didn't want to lose that.
Right.
But in black and white, the window didn't look right, so I got rid of it.
Let's see where the window is.
See over to
Oh,
the-
the window on the right there. Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, that really looks like that makes a difference, doesn't it? You guys,
What?
I think that's showing the whole frame somehow. Yeah,
Yeah.
there it is.
there.
Nope.
That's
Yeah.
sick. Can everyone see the window?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I got rid of the
Right.
right behind the dogs, there's a really bright light on a snowmobile, and I think another headlamp, and I got rid of those too.
Mhm.
Nice. Okay. The next one is Barney. Are you here, Barney?
I am here. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Yes,
All right.
I can hear you.
Good. So when I saw this image, the thing that that my eyes went to were the three dogs leading the pack. And so I started off in doing a very close crop on those, eliminated the competing dogs behind the three, just cloned them out. And because of the severe crop, I used a gigapixel to expand it, which also not only increased the resolution, but also increased the sharpness of it. And if you kind of look closely, I communicated with David earlier today, you can see that the eyes of the second dog in the original is actually a little bit fuzzy. So what I did was I cloned the eyes from the last dog and moved them forward. And you had to do right to right and left to left, because if you didn't, you had a cross-eyed dog, and that looked really, really weird. So anyway, I thought the blending operation went well. It's a combination of Lightroom and Photoshop, and then of course Gigapixel and Topaz AI, because this image, because it was taken at night and likely a high ISO, had a lot of noise in it, and that kind of knocked it out. I also did a little bit of shading on the lead dog on the right, to show the forehead, because that was a little bit blown out before. If I were to do more with this, it would be to try and remove the green tint from the lights that were out there, but enough was enough, and so I just sent it on in.
Nice.
Good.
Nice
That-
job.
That,
I have to say, when Barney told me he took the eyes out, I was like, that's just amazing.
that gigapixel is such a great piece of software.
Yeah, I recently did some work for a client that they sent me an iPhone shot, and she wanted a 17 by 22 print, and she had already sold the painting, and with gigapixel, I was able to expand it out and got a very satisfactory print out of it.
Yep.
And there's supposed to be a supersize function coming to Lightroom.
Yeah, the thing that they
Yeah.
did in Photoshop last month. Yeah.
So the next one belongs to Charlotte. Charlotte, do you want to tell us about this one?
Oh, well, before I tell you about this one, I want to say how interesting I think it is that Barney was able to just concentrate on those 3 dogs. To really zoom in on those 3. And looking at mine, he had to eliminate some behind it. Good work, Barney. You know, I got excited about this project right after the photos were sent to us. So it's been about a month since I did it, but I thought that the most important thing was the dogs. And so I tried to eliminate as much other things from the image as possible. Seems like I had just kind of learned how to use the patch tool or something, and I eliminated a lot of stuff in the background just so that the dogs would be more important. Next.
Yeah, very nice, Charlotte. Who's next? Whoops.
I think that may be mine. I don't know. It's why it's so small.
This one here. Sorry about that, Randy. This is yours, Randy.
Yeah, okay. Being a dog owner, I was very interested in the dog on the right-hand side, so I lightened him up a little bit. I probably should have taken away the one on that window, but I like the relationship between the dogs and cut out a lot of other stuff. Lightened up his face. He was in a pretty heavy shadow. I could hear him barking while they were going. Well, the dogs probably weren't barking, at least not the first 2.
Yeah, he's really interesting, isn't he? He looks like he wants to be. Is he also racing, or?
I think
Yeah.
He might, because he's got
Yeah, there's a sled.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
They're all pretty excited,
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
but he's definitely a sled dog.
So this is Michael's final version. Michael, do you want to tell us about the edits you did on this?
So as you can see on the where that really bright window was, I just used the spot removal tool to just bang it apart. And then if you zoom in on all the eyes, you'll see that I have added a lot of blue. And I just did that by using a very tiny radial filter and the color temperature. I just knocked it down to get all their eyes blue.
So you didn't clone their eyes, though?
No, I didn't.
All right, well, thank you, Michael. So the next image is this one. This is also Michael's image. And let's see, who's the first person that did this one is Donna. Donna, do you want to step up and tell us about the edits you did on this? Is Donna here?
She was.
Yeah, she was.
I'm here. There, sorry, I had myself muted. I actually submitted 2 photos for this too, because I played around with a composition. I thought there was, in the original, there was way more sky than was needed. And it wasn't a nice sky. I mean, the focus of the light on the snow and the bison was incredible. So I did a lot of cropping and I darkened the sky. I didn't do a whole lot with the foreground. I used the highlight brush the highlight slider to, bring out more of the definition in the snow. So I did one shot that showed this one bison. And then if you can go to the next one, I focused in on two of the bison.
This one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so I totally cut out the sky on this one and just focused in on the snow and the bison. I also ran it through Topaz Sharpen to sharpen them up a little bit. Yeah, I thought the color of the snow, was just perfect in the bison.
Yeah.
I did lighten the bison just a tad.
Hey, Rachel, I don't know if you can see, but there's a black strip of library developed map right through the top of the image. Can you tell?
No, I don't see that.
I'm gonna send.
If I go to full screen, I don't see that. Let me see.
I see it.
What about
also.
now?
No,
Do you see it now?
That's even worse.
Oh,
Huh,
okay.
I don't see it.
Hold on, Rachel, try hiding that bar by clicking on that little arrow on the very top. Yeah, there you go. Now make it full screen. Better, perfect.
There you go. That's good.
Okay. Sorry, Donna, keep going.
No, that's okay. That was it. That was it.
Nice. So the next person I think is this you, Randy? No.
Yeah.
No, this is Lauren. Lauren.
I just darkened the sky a little bit to make it look like there was
No, it's yours, Randy. It's Lauren's.
This is Lauren's, Randy. Sorry.
Whoops.
No, Rachel. No. Now you have panels on the left. Go back to the regular look. Now just hit F.
Yeah, I did.
Wet. Oh my gosh.
Now you have to hide
What
the
about-
right panel. You have to hide the right-hand panel.
I don't understand why you don't wear something.
You can try hitting tab.
Oh, whoops, I've got to.
I'm glad
you
somebody's
see?
having this problem other than me.
Okay,
Rachel,
I'm going to go to.
hide the right and the left panel with those little arrows.
Yeah, I had them hidden before. Hang on. Hide.
Now go ahead and
No,
full
hide.
screen.
I'm just going to hide this one as well.
Yeah.
Hide. Now full screen.
Perfect.
What about that?
Perfect.
There you go.
Lauren?
Yeah, I've never edited anybody else's photos before, so I thought this was really an interesting exercise. When I was thinking about it, when I'm ready to push the shutter, I'm usually kind of pre-visualizing how am I going to want this thing to look at the end, and not having that information. I sat back and I said, well, I can either make it the best picture that I can make it, that I would try to do if I was going to sell it. I can try to imagine what the photographer did, or I can just go crazy, and I decided to go crazy. So my workflow for all of mine on this thing was I took it into Lightroom, and I just did a little tiny bit of things like clarity, some white balance adjustments, contrast, and then a little bit of general luminosity. And then I went from there to Nick and pulled up one filter in almost all of these so-called dynamic contrast filter, and put that on. And then I took it to Photoshop. And in this one, I was just playing around with Photoshop filters. And there's a filter that's called Paint Daubs. And I touched that, and it brought all that texture out in the snow. Really amazing. So that's what I was looking for, and in the clouds also. So that's what I did with that thing.
And what was that filter called?
Paint Daubs, D-A-U-B-S. It was with a whole bunch of paint filters. So, you know, it was paint lines and paint daubs and paint pencil. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff. I haven't messed with Photoshop for years. And I must admit, I had a lot of fun with this, with all these pictures.
Nice.
Cool.
So is Tim Cully here? Tim? No?
I don't think so. Let's see.
Looks like he's done a sky replacement on that though. That's a
Yep.
different sky to what Michael shot. So that's interesting. I like that.
Hmm.
And then he's added a sepia, probably a Nick, maybe. So that's cool. I like the way that's a very different sky.
Yeah.
Okay, next is Charlotte again. Charlotte.
Am I there?
Charlotte.
I eliminated some bison that bothered me.
One and a half.
And
Eliminate.
I just got rid of it. Guy. And I liked the softness of it. And I think that after I had taken out some distractions, I went into, I think it might have been Topaz Impressions, and did a very light painterly effect. And that's all I can remember that I did because it was so long ago.
Nice. So which ones did you eliminate? Let me see.
Oh, I guess it was just one.
Just this one in the corner.
One on that
one on the right.
Right.
Yeah.
Start referring to Charlotte as the Terminator.
Yeah. Charlotte's
buffalo.
terminating the bison.
Yeah.
There it's gone. There it is now. It's gone. Okay, next is Pamela. Can you tell us about this one, Pamela?
I am trying to remember what I did. I know I always start in Lightroom to work on some of the curves and pull out some of the things, but I think I may have run this through Aurora HDR. Yeah, I did, because I can tell in the snow. You know, normally, you know, I sometimes, you know, when the thirds with the horizon, but I really liked where this horizon was at, and I know it brought out the clouds and the sky a bit more. Yeah, I think I like Charlotte. This was so long ago. I'm trying to rack my head on everything I did. But yeah, I loved this scene.
Yeah. At least you didn't terminate any bison though. That's
No
amazing.
Sorry.
No bison were harmed in the making of this photo.
Oh, and Pamela, here's another one of
Yes.
yours.
Okay, I'm remembering. I really I don't know if it was late at night and I had a beer or two, but I was really digging the black and white HDR version. That's right. I did run this through Aurora because it just had this surreal, old-timey, classic feel to it. So I kind of went all in.
No, I like that.
Like it, Pamela.
Yeah, it's one of those I can see as like a print or even on like a pillow or something like that. I was working on it.
Yeah, definitely. And then Randy, you're up next.
Yeah, I cut off half of a buffalo bison. I darkened the sky a little bit. Didn't do a whole lot. I thought it was pretty nice as it was.
Yeah. Okay. And then this is Michael's finished version. So Michael's also terminated a bison.
So I not only terminated, but I relocated. So the one on the right was actually the one that was more in the foreground.
Oh, I see. I like it. Yeah.
But can you go back? Back and then
Get them all three facing us too. Well.
Yeah, so You mean back to the one of Michael's, the original? That's the raw, right? And that's the, can everyone see those? Oh, that's Pamela's, that's not the wrong one, sorry. That's Michael's, and then this one is Michael's, right?
16, yeah.
Is that right?
Nope, that's Pamela's too.
Don't want to
The
select
sky is
Pamela's,
the
I
difference
want
there.
this one.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so you see, I took the farthest right bison and I basically put him on top of the little bison.
Yeah, so this bison here is over here
Right.
now,
Right.
and you terminated this one.
That's called termination relocation.
And Michael, what tools did you use to do that?
Let me think. I probably did it in Photoshop.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I just went cuckoo on the sky because I thought it was a really cool sky.
Yeah, I noticed that. So you've just, yeah, that's very different.
Yeah, just blew
Very
it up.
interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. So we have some more bison, but maybe we'll just skip those because there's a lot of bison. We'll go to this one as the next one. Oops.
Now you have it. Oh. There you go.
Okay. This is Michael's as well. Michael, where was this shot?
In Cook City.
Oh, cool. Okay. So the first person up is Lauren. Do you want to tell us about what you did, Lauren?
Yeah, this was the one I did. This one on 420.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to suggest acid, but that'll work.
I pulled up
420, okay.
A filter in Photoshop. It's called glowing edges, and that's all it is. Just straight out of Photoshop, nothing.
Okay, nice. So next is Lauren again.
Yeah, this one I must have done this one on 419, I guess. So it came out a little bit more. All I did was just some
texture. Wow.
Color enhancement, some texture, and I used
that looks
filter
like
this time. It's called Poster Edges, and it gives you that ultra sharpening kind of effect because it highlights all the edges and turns them to those black lines. So it just sort of highlighted everything. And again, it was just, these are all one-click edits, and I did the 6 photos in less than a half an hour. So this is just straight out of Photoshop.
Wow.
Who took the photograph?
Michael Cohen took the photograph.
Oh, okay. It's in Cook City.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, the Cook City Hilton.
Right.
Michael, is this the place opposite the Soda Butt Lodge?
Yeah.
All right.
The butt.
The Soda Butte Lodge.
Butte.
Yeah, and I think that's the side of the building, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So Pamela, would you like to talk us through this one?
I think I just adjusted the curves in Lightroom, if I remember. I played with the exposure and adjusted the curve. I'm trying to remember. Sorry. I think it was just an adjustment. Yeah. Yeah, to pull out the colors. So I made it more like an S curve than that straight line. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's cool. Here's one from Donna. Donna, do you want to talk us through this?
Yeah, just real quick, I took it into Silver FX to make it black and white. I did use the adjustment brush on the snow to lighten it up a little bit. And I'm fairly new to Silver FX, so I can't even tell you what I did in there. I just play with all those sliders. But just, I mean, this is nothing as compared to the cool color stuff that you guys did to the other ones.
I think this image really suits black and white though. I like it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Nice. Well done, Donna.
Thank you.
Next up is Randy.
Yeah, I just edited it down a bit and then played around with the colors. I can't remember exactly what I did. I tried to figure out what I could do to the windows because that was kind of disturbing the windows, but I never did figure out anything I could have done with that.
What were you trying to do?
Sorry.
I was trying to put more emphasis just on the windows. I took off there was a gutter kind of edge at the top, and the window was way off to the left, and I thought I'd just put it a little bit to the left.
Got it.
What is in
Yeah,
the,
so
in the
that's
window?
quite a tight crop. Yeah, I don't know. What is that in the window, Michael? Is that a reflection?
Probably. Yeah.
I was so hoping we'd see Bernie Sanders in that window.
That's what Lewis would have done, I would have thought. Lewis, that's the kind of thing you would do.
I did work on this. I didn't submit it. I made it a tic-tac-toe board.
Took out the middle pillar?
No, I didn't send it in.
What did you do? Take out the middle? Take out the middle pillar?
No, I just ignored 3 of the panes.
Oh, okay.
Gigi, are you on? Would you like to talk us through the edits you did on this one?
I like
Yeah,
how you.
I'm on. I cropped out something on the top and I can't remember what that was.
There's a gutter like at the top.
Yeah, actually on some of the other pictures, I actually liked it. Now I'm kind of sorry I did. But I just thought the emphasis was the window. And other than that, I'm kind of like Lauren. I did it pretty fast, but I'm sure that I used dehaze and
Well, you also warmed it up, I think. It looks nice. Warm.
thank you. Yeah, I don't remember warming it up, but I do, I do like to use dehaze and what is that other filter up there near clarity? Dehaze, clarity, and
Texture?
And yeah, texture. Yeah, I probably used all those. I don't know where the photographer is in this reflection though. I kept looking for Michael. I don't know how he could take that picture and not get himself in it.
You ever see that movie, The Invisible Man?
Right. So Michael, this is your finished image. What I might do is put it next to the raw, which is here, and you can tell us about your edits. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Yeah, so basically,
So actually,
I really sort of just grunged it up a little bit. I didn't crop it. I just added a bunch of structure and texture, and then I desaturated it.
yeah, so this is the image on the left is Michael's finished.
Yeah, but I like what Gigi did by warming it up. I would go back and fix it.
Okay. All right, next one here is again from Michael. Michael, this is yours, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is the raw. Can you tell us where this was shot down on Antelope Flats, right? Looking towards the Sleeping Indian?
Somewhere, but no, it's somewhere between Wilson and Jackson somewhere. I forget exactly where.
Okay.
Off the road.
Okay. So the first one here is, whose is this one? Candy, this is yours. Do you want to talk us through the edits you did?
Sure. First, I cropped it as a piano because I love the trees. And then I started in Lightroom. I pushed my whites and blacks and probably added a bunch of clarity and maybe some contrast. And then I took it into Silver Effects and I used the control points to pull the trees as one kind of unit, and then I did the sky, and then I did the ground as 2 other units. And basically I just really hit the brightness on the trees and I kind of darkened up the sky and even the foreground just a little bit. That's about it.
So Michael, this is hoarfrost on the trees, isn't it?
That's
Yeah.
what I was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought the trees were beautiful, so I wanted the emphasis
Yeah.
to be on them.
Yeah, one of those lucky mornings, right?
Amazing. Yeah. Is Beth here? She's
I don't
not,
think
is she?
she's on.
I like that though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did a nice job. She does
Yeah, I like the.
she does really nice post, Beth does.
I like the way
Okay, so-
Candy had taken out the background with blackening it up better than this though. Yeah,
That's Candy's right there.
yeah. Really sets the trees off.
Yeah. That's Beth's. And now I think this is Charlotte. Charlotte's. Charlotte, do you want to talk us through this one?
I think I murdered this in silver effect.
Poison killer.
It's like a negative.
I'm very violent tonight, aren't I?
At least you didn't kill any bison.
Right. No mammals.
Yeah.
But this is one of the modes in silver effects, and it framed it, and I thought that the line was kind of there was a line that went through the photograph. I think maybe I worked at taking that out, but I guess maybe it was there a telephone line in that photograph?
Yeah.
It was just light. It was light on
Yeah,
the
it's light
hill.
on the edge.
I tried to get rid of it.
Okay.
but I couldn't.
All right. So anyway, I'm a color junkie, and so this was a stretch for me. I like color.
I like go back to that, Rachel. I like the foreground in that it seems like back in the old days, black and white.
Mm.
Mhm.
It's a daguerreotype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually could be.
Yeah. Looks very much like.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this.
Gigi, are you here? Do you want to talk us through this one?
This is pretty.
I know that I worked really hard to try to get the snow in the foreground to look like snow because it looked a little yellow to me. I know I worked on that, and looking at it again now, I just don't even recognize it. To tell you the truth. I know that I was really intrigued by the white line of the hill behind the picture, because at first I thought it was a wire, and then I realized later it's a little bit of sun on the hill, and I like that. Other than that, as I look at it, I'm a little surprised that I didn't light up the trees a little bit more. But anyway, it's been a while.
Okay.
I like the blue tones that are in it. That
The what?
I really like the blue tones behind the
the
trees.
blue tones are really nice. Yeah.
Mhm. They're very pretty.
You know, it also seems to have a glow to it that I didn't see in the others.
Think about that.
Mm.
I'm gonna turn
Yeah.
my.
Lauren,
wow.
do you want to talk us through this one?
Yeah, this one I actually did spend a little bit of time on. I love the photo. It's just spectacular image, Michael. I started out again in Nick, and I took it into Color Effects Pro, and again used a dynamic contrast filter to really make the contrast pop. And then I use a filter that's called Highlight the Center, which is sort of like a gradient that it's not a vignette, but it just lightens that middle. And I use that to actually bring the trees out. Then I put it back into Photoshop, and I did the same paint dabs thing. And that brought out, again, more texture in the snow on the front. And then I went back to Lightroom, did the cropping all in Lightroom at the end of the thing, and actually then just dropped the highlights way down. But I really like this image. I think this is a nice one. I would print that on my wall for sure.
So you ended up with a sort of sepia tone. Where did that come in,
Yeah.
Lauren? Was that from Photoshop?
Nope, nope.
No.
That's
Okay.
just the way it came out with that dynamic contrast. I didn't do anything at all to try to tone things down and make it monochrome in any way, but I just used the dynamic contrast, and it just, again, it made the trees in my mind jump out so much from that background hill. I didn't do anything fancy with a brush or tone that down in any way. Just like I said, it's just 3 clicks and boom, that's what happened. So.
Nice. Oh, Pamela, do you want to talk us through this one?
Yeah, like Lauren, I think we had a similar vision on this, you know, that I did a lot of the same things that you did, as far as I brought it into Lightroom and then moved over to Photoshop, because I took out the line because I wanted to see more of the entire landscape and the mountains and then I added some sun flare into that to really hone in that golden hour feel of the light. But yeah, my editing was similar to Lauren's, and then I added the sun flare to kind of give that morning feel of that. That's yeah.
How did you do that?
Yeah, the sun flare really makes it. How did you do it?
What'd you do?
It's oh gosh, which app was it?
Is it Luminar?
I think it was the
Luminar
Luminar.
AI
Yeah,
has
yeah,
it.
it was the Luminar. Yes. I as soon as I saw it, I immediately wanted to do a sun flare in it, and it was Luminar. So, yep.
So if y'all haven't used that, they have a feature where you can add flares or stars to a point source.
And you can adjust how strong the flares are, how warm they are, how many, how intense, how not intense. So I was playing around with that to kind of give it a nice subtle sun flare feel to the morning.
Very interesting. And so, Michael, this is your finished version. Let me get the raw. Now you can talk us through what you did.
Yeah, so I didn't think the foreground added anything to the picture. And I did want to keep some of that sun flare, so I pano cropped it in that way, and then just really accentuated the black and white. It's kind of, you know, it kind of made me feel like printing it on number 6 paper, if anybody is to remember that.
Very nice.
I'd just like to make one comment with the lines, whether they be phone lines or sun reflecting off of mountains. They were distracting for me. So I appreciated those that took the time to take them out. It looks like it was not an easy task to do that, but it just kind of detracted from it to me.
Rachel, will you just go to my final one for a second? I just want to.
It was actually quite simple in Photoshop to take them out. I just did the healing brush throughout it to get rid of it. Yeah, it didn't take much at all to remove them.
My eyes are just drawn to that.
Yes, Rick, I think
you're
you're right. If I were to do anything with this, I would probably take that out. You're right.
Yeah. And I see the majority of you that worked on this on the photo left them in. So, but the ones that without it, I think look more pleasing to me.
So this one again is Michael's. And the first one up today to edit is Lauren. Lauren, will you tell us about this?
Same workflow as the others, only I started out in Lightroom in the HSL panel, brought the blues down and the green down to make it a lot more monochromatic. And then what did I do? That's something else I did anyway. And then I went back into Nick with the dynamic contrast filter, and I used tonal contrast on this thing. And this one I didn't do anything in Photoshop. But after I finished, I went back into Lightroom and I brushed out some of the effect because I wanted to bring those buildings behind the tractor on the right and not make that look monochrome. I wanted them to bring out that little bit of color back there. And so I actually used a brush and fiddle around with this one a little bit.
I love that blue in the sky. That's such a cool blue.
It is.
Came out. That's a great hue.
The HSL is just tremendous. I mean, you can just mess with that all you want to get that color just exactly right. But I was going to say I used a nice little color wheel thing with the orange and the blue, but I didn't.
Very different. Pamela, do you want to talk us through this one?
I actually did an HDR on this one. I ran it through Aurora HDR and then went through which ones I liked, and then I adjusted the settings to kind of take it down a little bit so it wasn't full HDR, but it started HDR, and then I pulled it back a little bit because I loved the grass and I loved the sky. I really enjoyed this picture a lot, and then I have a slight vignette around it, so it really was like a 2-minute edit, but I wanted to keep the integrity of the photo because there's so much. I'm a huge fan of this photo.
Cool. And so, Gigi, will you talk us through this one?
I cropped it a little bit, and there wasn't much that I did to it, but I'm surprised it's so soft, and I don't know why, because it wasn't on my computer. It just doesn't look the same as it did on my computer. But it didn't, to me, it didn't need a lot of work. So I just tried to work on the sky a little bit and increase the contrast a little bit because it was a little flat, and I cropped it, and that's just about all I did. But I really am surprised that it's looking so soft, and I don't know why that is.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know. I grabbed the files from the Dropbox and just put them straight in Lightroom, so not sure why that would be. It's still great what you did, but yeah, it does look soft on my computer. I'm not sure why that is. Charlotte, do you want to talk us through this, please? This is great. I like the colors, the intensity on the tractor. That looks really good.
Well, I thought it was a photograph about the tractor, and so I changed the color of the tractor in Lightroom HSL, I believe, and I tried to take some distractions out behind the tractor around the buildings and things to just simplify, so that all we really saw was the tractor in the setting. And I replaced the sky in Photoshop sky replacement.
Nice.
And yeah, it was the first time I had used it, and I got so jazzed by it that I went back to very old photographs and I replaced skies. I just had a sky replacement party.
Is there also a bison tool? Could you put in a bison?
Yeah.
A bison driving the tractor.
Yeah.
So Charlotte, what did you think of that tool? It's so easy to use, isn't it? And it's so fun.
It is so fun. And I wish that the person who did that one black and white and did the sky replacement was here, because he blended the old sky with the new sky in such a great way. I would love to have lessons in how to do that. This was kind of just automatic, and I didn't have to work at it. It did it by itself.
Yeah, it's really easy, and it's when you first do it, it's so surprising, because you used to have to create a mask and paint in the edges, and now you just go click and it does the sky for you. And of course you can fine tune it if you want, but initially the result is so cool. Yeah, I'm so glad you used that tool. It's really fun. Okay, so Lewis, would you like to talk us through yours, please?
I had the same idea as Lauren. I went a little bit, I didn't leave any color in there. And basically what I did was just took the adjustment brush and brushed the entire picture and desaturated it, and then erased it around the tractor. So that's the original color in the tractor. played a little bit.
So
with
you
the
did all
sky.
of this in Lightroom?
It's all in Lightroom, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
a Photoshop-ophobe.
And then you cropped it a little
A
bit.
Photoshop.
And then it's cropped a little bit, yeah.
I love it, Louis.
Yeah,
It's
no.
great.
Has a real old time feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
Needs
love the
more
idea
bison
when you
though, but-
put you leave something color in a monochrome picture. I think that's
Yeah.
fascinating. So
And so this is Michael's finished version. Let's grab his raw, which is here. Where did you shoot this, Michael?
On Martha's Vineyard. And
Okay.
it's interesting, everybody loved the grass, and I love the grass too, but I really wanted that tractor to look like it was in more of a wheat field. So I made the grass look more like shaved wheat. And then just brought out the sky and saturated up the tractor a little bit. So what is so fascinating to me about this meeting is how everyone interprets the same image so differently, and it's great.
yeah, I agree. I'm blown away by how many different ideas everybody has. So
Michael, how did you change the color of the grass?
Using the HSL panel in the hue panel of HSL.
In Lightroom.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
and it didn't change
Very
the trees.
It changed them a little bit. You can see.
Little bit, but not much.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you changed the color of the tractor also.
Yeah, I just really, I increased the saturation and I decreased the luminance. That's how I got it a little darker red.
Very cool. So next is Barney. This is your image, correct?
Correct.
Wait.
Yes.
Is this your raw?
Yes. It's an infrared image.
Yeah.
Taken with a 800.
So
830 nanometer filter. So there's no color in there.
So tell us a little bit about how you get these images. Is this a special camera?
Yeah, this is a D800 that I had modified with life pixels, and for a couple $100 you can send it off and then pick any. They have about 10 or 12 different types of IR filters now, and at the time I was really keen on intense high contrast black and white, and that means shooting a filter that takes out all of the visible light that we see and just records the near infrared light. And so greens then tend to go more towards the white tones, for example.
What's it called again that you sent your camera in? Because I have an old 7D. I would love to do that too.
Life pixel.
Life pixel.
Yeah, I can send you the link to them.
Yeah,
they're very, very good. There's an outfit out of New Jersey who's very good, and those folks are out of Washington. And I've had a couple of cameras modified by them, and if you're not satisfied, they will fix it.
thank you.
And so is this a standard exposure? Like you don't expose for longer, or how long do you expose?
With modified IR filters, of course, if you use a filter on the front end of your regular DLSR, then it's filtering out a tremendous amount of light, and then it has to go through another filter that is in front of your sensor that our camera manufacturers have put on to eliminate most of the near infrared light. So you are multiple stops down, and that's why on these screw-in filters that you can buy from B&H and from others, you have to do multiple minute exposure in the middle of the day in order to get something decent usually. But with something like this, I crank up the EV to +2 or +3, and I'm typically shooting, well, you could see up here, what, 160th of a second at f9, ISO 400.
It's a really interesting effect.
Yeah, very much so.
So the first person that did some editing was Donna. Can you talk us through, Donna, what you did here?
Yes, when I first looked at the photo, I wasn't even going to do anything with it because I couldn't figure out what to do. But it had incredible, definition. It just looked real muddy. So first thing I did in Lightroom was to lighten it up a little bit. And I played some with the contrast and the dehaze. And then I also decreased some of the shadows. And then I took it into Silver FX and played more with the with both the white and the black sliders and until it looked like this. It was funny. I'm glad you explained, how you created in the first place, because I kept zooming in on this tree. And if you zoom in on it, that looks like snow. But then I'd zoom out and say, no, it can't be snow. There's no snow anywhere else. But it just stayed that light color. But I love what, taking it on into Silver FX did, with the definition of the old structure. I loved it, even though I wasn't sure what to do with it to begin with. I loved it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting image. Pamela, will you talk us through what you did?
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
Thanks. I loved this image. I kept going back to it. And so I wanted to do it justice to the original artist. And so again, I actually pulled this into Aurora as well because I felt this would be a good fit to find a good HDR version of this and then pull it back a little bit. So it brings out the character. And the tree was a little too much for me when I first brought it into HDR. So I actually brought the tree back down a little bit so it wasn't too white. But I love the texture on here and I really wanted to bring that out. And then if you can kind of see, I did a very slight vignette around it as well.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
It looks like there's some color in it now, though, too.
It looks like, a brownish tint to it. Looks
Yeah,
great.
that was with the HDR aspect of it, is what it brought out some of a little bit of a tone to it.
Pretty.
Yeah, really pretty. And this, Barney, is this your finished version, maybe?
Couldn't be.
Let's have a look. Hang on. Let's go back here.
If it is, I sent
Yeah.
you the wrong one.
Oh,
But anyway,
well,
okay.
so on the left is the finished one and the right is the raw.
Yeah. So a lot of what we heard in processing IR is that one of the first things you do is you crank up the contrast and play with the dehaze. In this particular image, and I apologize for not sending I pulled the wrong one out. I use a plugin which I really highly recommend for Photoshop users called Artisan. And it's about a $40 plugin, and what it does is it plays with the tones of an image, and you can create a tremendous amount of depth in your image by using this. It's a little bit complicated to learn how to use, but once you get the hang of it, you can really spend a fair amount of time in it. But basically, with IR images, as we heard others, you got to crank up the contrast and the dehaze, and then a lot of times I also take it into Silver FX Pro, and that seems to add a certain amount of sharpening and even more detail.
I really like the way that there's light now on the front of the building and the light on the tree. So your eye just kind of moves between those two features in that photo and really keeps your eye within the frame because you keep bouncing between the tree and the front of the barn.
And the front of the building was selectively lightened through a series of layers with artisan, as well as the door and that roof as well. I wanted to give the effect of the sun coming in from the upper right onto the building.
Yeah, I think it does that. It's really cool. It's an interesting technique. So I think this one is Barney. Is this Michael? Is this yours?
No, this is mine.
Barney's, yeah.
Taken
This is
on a very foggy morning outside of Teton Village.
Okay, cool. So the first person that did an edit on this is Candy. Can you talk us through, Candy, what you did?
I kept playing with this one a lot, so I'm not sure where it ended, but I put a radio filter on and I vignetted the background lighter, and I pushed my whites and pushed my blacks. And then I think I even went in with a brush and did the trees and made them a little blacker, decreased my clarity. I really wanted everything in the background gone because I just felt it distracted from the trees. So I wanted it to kind of look a little like old-timey, almost massive snowstormy, with just those two sentinel trees there. But I did everything in Lightroom.
Nice, nice.
It almost could be like a lithograph or something. You know what I mean? It's almost looks like a print or a anyway. So this one made me laugh, but I don't think Tim's on the call, is he? Tim Lavasi?
Oh, I love it.
That's great.
That is good.
Looks like a pencil sketch.
Yeah. That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
So it looks like he's added in this sort of grass area, the foreground here,
Well,
as well as
interesting is that the coyote obviously was kicking around, and he actually pushed the fog away to expose the ground.
yeah, that's right. I mean, so unfortunately, Tim's not here to explain this to us. But this is the coyote replacement tool in Photoshop, I think, isn't it? Probably. I don't know. Anyway, that's quite fun. This one is Beth, and she's not here either, but this is very Beth, isn't it? Everyone who knows Beth's work would know this is very Beth. The next one is from Pamela again. Pamela, can you talk us through this, please?
Wow.
I wanted when I saw it, by the way, who's the photographer? Your sensor's dirty.
It's always dirty.
So one of the first things I did was get all the sensor spots off, and there was some good, decent amounts. But I wanted to see the layers that were behind the fog, and I wanted that. What's the word I'm looking for? The plated look. That's what inspired me off of it. What's that technique called?
Daguerreotype or
I can't remember. Where you print like on like a metal or a rock or something like that. So there's kind of inspired me to kind of do that look, and so I'm trying to remember this. I was on this image for a while, and I can't remember everything I did to it. I think I might have been 2 or 3 beers in at this point, so I couldn't tell you what I did on this, but except for cleaning all the sensors off. But I love seeing the dimensions that were actually in this foggy area.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because in Barney's raw, it's very, I didn't even notice that there's trees behind those 2 trees.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
Just one word, Pamela.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
It has a bluish tint to it. Just a
Yeah.
real light.
Yeah, that was just
And that
part of
adds to it greatly.
yeah.
Yeah.
It almost looks like there's a there's a Nick Color Effects filter called like Midnight Sun or Moonlight or something like that. It has that,
Oh yeah.
has that effect.
I need to get this Nick software. I know it was popular a while ago and I've never dived into it, but I think it's something I might enjoy.
No, it's terrific.
Yeah.
You can spend
absolutely.
hours with it, hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Oh.
So this must be Barney's final version. Is this the, yeah, okay, great. So let's go and look at the original. So,
So I
Barney,
thought
do you want to talk us through your final?
All right. First of all, I thought this might work well with kind of Ben's square format. And so I put it in that. And then basically everything that Candy talked about, that's what I did with it, except with the addition of going into Photoshop and carefully using a black paintbrush, accentuate the trunks or of the trees to give that a little bit more definition. But that's pretty much it. I probably removed some of the censor spots, but I don't remember what.
Barney, I'm not sure if
Just
it's
whited them out.
Barney, I'm not sure if it's an artifact of Zoom or not, but I'm seeing kind of a white halo around the branches. Do you see that?
I noticed that too in mine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I see it now that you
Yeah.
mention it.
Particularly at the
now
tree
that
to the
you see
left.
it.
Can you make that square full screen, Rachel?
Sure.
Yeah, I see it now.
Oh, yeah.
What's that from?
I'm assuming it's from the sun kind of peeking through the fog.
It's probably from using a contrast brush on the trees,
Oh, maybe.
and it's probably just a little bit of kind of outflow.
Yeah. Yeah, so you might just want to whiten the whole thing even more just to blend.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't see that until you pointed it out.
It's really simple, but such a powerful image.
I like the square.
Oh, we'll copy you, Michael. So let's go back to the second lot of bisons because the next lot is trees. So we'll go back to those in a sec. This is again Michael Cohen's image. This is the raw image. And then here is Donna. This is really great. I love what you've done here, Donna. Can you talk us through it?
Yes,
I mean,
I
it's
love it. I love the
really
light
good.
on this one. I started out by taking the highlights down to create some more definition in the fog behind the bison, and that brought out that lovely light color back there. So I did use the temperature slider just a little bit to the right. I didn't want to overdo it and make it look, false. But the snow stayed, really, really white. I lightened the bison up a little bit so you could, see his face really well. And then with the temperature, I didn't want the rock to turn gold because that's not the right color of the rock. The rock, is this greenish color with a little bit of the tan in it. So I actually used the adjustment brush to go over the entire rock and take the temperature back towards the blue end for that one. And I just loved how the bison is silhouetted against that the lovely light in the sky. This was my favorite photo of the whole batch.
I love it. It's so pretty. Good job.
Thanks.
Warming
Yeah,
it
I
up
mean,
in the
I straight
background
away
would
I'm
look really
attracted
good.
to. Sorry. Straight away, Pamela. Sorry, Donna. Straight away, I look into the eye of that bison. That's the first thing. My eye goes straight to that bison's eye because it's got this nice little shine in it, and then the beautiful warm colors on that fur just makes it look just pops. It's
Yeah,
I love
really
what you've
does.
done.
I like what you did to the sky, because I thought the sky, there was nothing there, but you sure found something.
I mean, it was like the very first thing that happened was the sky, which showed that gorgeous, gorgeous, light coming in from the right side. And it's like, okay, we got something good here.
Yeah. Oops. So the next one is Charlotte. Whoops. Charlotte, do you want to talk us through this one?
She's still here?
I turn your mic on, Charlotte.
It seems terribly pale and washed out after that beautiful one that we just saw of Donna's. I think I tried to get rid of some of the tracks in the snow that I thought were distractions. And then I used a texture over the whole image. And I love yours, Donna.
Brush stroke or something. It looks like there's.
Yeah, it looks like a brush stroke. Yeah.
To make it look a little like a painting. Yeah, but
it does. It looks like an oil painting or
Great.
something. Yeah. Next is Pamela.
What did I do?
Pamela, you want to talk us through this one?
I think. What did I do? I have no idea what I did. I apologize. It has been too long on this one. Oh, sorry. I know I lightened up the buffalo, but I can't remember what I did to this.
Looks like the temperature was put real cool, that the snow has that blue tint to it.
I am racking my brain on this one. I don't remember editing this one. But I love this picture and I love the
Four beers.
Like 4 beers.
I like hardly drink, and I just remember this night I was like,
this was the 7th beer.
I couldn't like dive in and enjoy my night.
I think we can tell which order Pamela edited these pictures in. As we go along, there's less and less detail.
I think it was the first time I had alcohol in like a year, because I saw this drink and I was just enjoying my night in so many ways. Like, this was such a treat.
Pamela, we're not laughing at you, we're laughing with you.
But he's so majestic and so powerful. I know that's why I was drawn to this image.
And the sky is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful sky.
I wish I would have cropped the rock out a little more, because it's a bit distracting for me now that I'm critiquing my own picture. Like, I would have brought that down a bit, and maybe, just to keep that focus on that majestic animal.
Yeah, still nice job. So this is Michael's finished one. So let's do a comparison here.
I think I have two.
This one?
Oh, don't I?
Oh, sorry, Michael. Wait,
That's okay.
that is a finished one, but this one first is Gigi's. No. Gigi, can you talk us through this one?
I know what I did. I used the sky replacement tool, and I was hoping to have something that looked a little bit like a fantasy. And
oh, nice.
Yeah, so that was my goal. And,
I definitely think you got the fantasy part.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm not laughing. I'm just saying it looks like something I would have put on my college dorm wall. I like that.
Thank you. I really liked what Donna did with the rock, and I really worked on the rock, and I just couldn't figure out what to do. So Donna, congratulations on that.
Thanks.
Yeah, now that you say it, Gigi, I noticed that you've replaced the sky, but I didn't. That's a sunset sky, isn't it? One of the sunsets, I think.
Yeah, it's one of the last ones, or the last one in the whole choices.
Yeah, it's quite a cool effect too.
I thought it was really boring, but obviously it wasn't as boring as I thought it was, because some people have some great skies. So anyway, that was my goal, to make it look sort of like a fantasy.
Well, I think you definitely achieved that. And so this one is also from Tim Labasi, who's not here, but this one made me laugh out loud.
That's funny.
Did a nice job of putting it on the rock there.
Yeah, it really looks like he's sitting there. It's right in.
It really looks like the bison is like, where did that guy come from?
Now this is where we need Bernie on the rock.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So yeah, Tim had some fun with adding random animals with the random animal replacement tool or whatever he's got. I don't know. Excuse me. So Michael, this is one of your finished ones. So we'll start with this one here and then this one, and we'll go to the second finished one. So do you want to talk us through these first?
Yeah, so what I loved about this animal, I mean, he's just so delightful and so majestic, and you can see I cropped out a bunch of the rock. And then Rachel, go to that one in full screen because I just want to mention something. So,
sorry.
So the
finished one?
Yeah. So one of the reasons why I did this one black and white with a lot of texture is he's so shaggy. He almost reminded me of a woolly mammoth. And so I was sort of thinking woolly mammoth the whole time. And so that's sort of the treatment that I wanted to give it. And because a woolly mammoth doesn't exist anymore, I think you could only look at it in black and white. So that's why I did that particular treatment. But the first treatment I did was now the second one you're going to see.
I love the black and white.
Okay,
Michael. That looks awesome.
Me too.
And so,
this one, yeah.
And so here, you go ahead and take that one to full screen too.
This is like a fantasy one too, a bit like what Gigi did.
Well, so I did a lot of what Donna did.
Yeah.
That's why those two pictures look the same, except the only other thing I did was, because even though it looks like the light is coming from the bison's left, which is sort of illuminating his shoulder, the light is actually coming from the right, which is why you see the shadow of the rock. And so I actually created that little mini sort of sun orange thing, just to sort of add some directionality to the light. So Donna, you and I did almost exactly the same thing.
You did.
Yep.
That's a really handsome bison.
Put Donna's up. Does hers have the light on the, yeah.
Which one is that? Donna's
That's
there?
it. That's it.
Yeah. They are very similar, aren't they?
So, yeah, so put 18 and 24 together, yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't really notice that there is a shadow there, but the light on the bison and what looks like the sun coming out of the clouds. I didn't catch that.
I don't think that's a shadow though, is it?
It looks like ground.
I think it's ground.
Here it is.
It's an indentation in the snow, isn't it?
No, I think that the reason why it's light on the left side is because of a reflection on the snow. The sun reflected the light back onto the bison.
Yeah,
that's a shadow, right?
I actually brushed that highlight up a little bit hotter, as you can see between the two images.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really loved how shaggy he was.
He's very handsome.
Mm.
So let's go back to Barney again here. So this time, Barney, I think, is this again an infrared?
No, this is just a straight shot, sky shot. You know, we've been talking about sky replacement so much. I thought I'd just throw this one in and see if folks tried the sky replacement. You could see the see some of the stars up there. The Seven Sisters is over on the right hand side, and I think that's Orion.
Oh, come on, Barney, that's censored.
That's not a sensor spot. So
That one?
That's
Are you
that's
talking
the
about
Seven
this?
Sisters right there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So this was taken in our front yard, and the light is coming from just some house lights, and this was taken under almost a full moon.
Wow. So you didn't light paint this at all? That's just from, and this
No,
was
no,
2.5 seconds.
This is just, yeah, this is a 2.5 second exposure, and raw right out of the camera. I thought
And
it'd be
is
fun to
this
play with.
is this the manual lens, the 14mm
No,
manual
it's the
Rokinon?
14 to 24 2.8. It's the one with the big bulbous front.
And it's one of Nikon
Okay.
sharp lenses too. It's a great.
Yeah, yeah. It's the lens. It's my lens of choice for doing star trails.
Cool. So this one I think is yours, Randy.
Yeah, I opened up the exposure a little bit so you could see the stars, but you can't really see it here much. Took out the moon so it's not so standard, and then cut out the feet of this a little bit, but so you could see the trees a little bit more. But when I sent it in, I thought you could also see the sky a little bit more, but it doesn't look like it here on this one.
I think that's a really good.
I can
crop.
see this.
Yeah.
You can see the sky. So that's Barney's. That's yours.
Yeah, it lights it up. I may have
See the
thought it was,
difference?
if I was in a dark room, it'd probably be a whole lot better.
I could definitely see more stars in yours than in Barney's.
Yeah.
On my screen, anyway. Yeah. Nice.
No, we don't. It's really close.
And the Charlotte, do you want to talk us through this? I love this. It's so moody, so atmospheric.
I like that.
Well, this is the colored junkie trying black and white. And,
Looks like a storm.
and I did it in Silver Effects, and it's been so long ago, I can't remember anything more about it than that.
It looks like Halloween. Spooky.
Yeah.
I like it, Charlotte. That's really nice.
We just need Tim to add the Headless Horseman in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tim can be our drop random animals into images man from now on, I think.
a little werewolf walking through there.
Yeah.
Or a witch on a broom.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Vote for a tarot.
It really suits the black and white, that image, doesn't it? It's really lovely. Okay, and then Barney, so is this your final version?
Yeah, this is so what I did. I used the sky replacement tool from in Photoshop, and then just this is actually a southern facing exposure, so it's it's not true to the geometry of the sky, but I kind of put this in just to kind of point out the power of the sky replacement. And you can pick up any sky image that you want, and then of course load it into your file system for Photoshop and have it there for future reference. And so that's what I did here.
And it took out all that moon light.
Oh.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do anything to remove the moon.
No, I had to do very little after just doing the sky replacement. I thought so. That's why I thought it was worthwhile kind of tossing this in. But I like Charlotte's image. I like what she did with it. I never would have thought about doing that. I love the mood that you generated in that image.
This one here.
Yeah.
This one. Yeah. Yep.
Because I can still see I can still see the details of the stars.
Yeah.
I tried not to lose your stars.
No, it's very cool. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah, it is nice. So Does anyone here, if you don't know how to use the sky replacement tool, which we've talked about quite a lot tonight, I did an instructional video that I posted on the Facebook page. But if you want to, it's actually on YouTube, but it's unlisted. So I can send you the link if you want to see a step-by-step tutorial on how to use the sky replacement tool in Photoshop. If you're interested, I can also put it.
I'd really appreciate that. Yeah, send me a link.
Sure. I mean, I can put it in the chat now, or Charlotte, I can email you directly. Do you use the Facebook page, Charlotte?
I do not use Facebook. Okay.
Then I will just email it to you directly. But I'll also put it up on Facebook tonight so that people can find it. Because and I also did a instructional step-by-step video on how to remove dead space from your images. So any sort of area in the middle of your image that is not particularly interesting and doesn't contain any area that you want to keep. So if you've got maybe a big stretch of snow, for example, that you don't want to keep in the image, or maybe a big body of water that's not very interesting, you can go into Photoshop and just sort of cut the middle out and stick the pieces back together. And I did an instructional video on that, as well as a short instruction on how to use the content aware fill tool, which is really useful for removing extraneous stuff from your images. So garbage, junk that maybe a power pole, a power line like Michael had in his image tonight. You can use content aware fill for that. I used it in this instructional video I did to remove scat that a trumpeter swan had left a big pile of on the ice. Then I had this lovely photo of a swan and then a big pile of scat, so I got rid of it. And it's very simple. You just kind of draw, you click around it with a tool, and then you go remove, and it removes it for you. So that's really handy if you have something in your image that you don't really want to be there. So I'll put those up. Do you want me to send you that one too, Charlotte?
I'd like all three of them. Thank you.
Sure. Okay.
And I want to say something real quickly on all of these. So for the people who always think photography is not art, if you look at all the interpretations of somebody, what we did with other people's images, and some of them are so very artful. And I just think that everybody did a great job. And Michael, did you have something?
When Rachel's done, there's one thing that I want to just show folks. So I'll wait.
Yeah, we're done. Did everybody's images get into this catalog? I didn't miss anyone.
You're gonna laugh, but I thought I had sent more in, but I was probably drunk. Like the last one, I'm like, oh, I remember what I did for that, and then I didn't see mine. I was like, oh, I guess I never did it.
I put everything.
No, it's on me. It's totally on me. But I edited almost all of them,
So there's one more image that we need to look at, and this is saved especially for Pamela. So here we are on.
Very good.
I would have expected something like that from Lewis. I'm quite disappointed, Lewis, that you didn't do something like that.
Oh,
I knew somebody would.
I want to make a quick. We had a late person join, but evidently he sent me a message. He goes, he doesn't have video or audio. So, but everybody say hello to Dave Morgan.
Hi, Dave.
I don't know where David is, but he's somewhere in the western part of the U.S. living in a Jeep. So maybe he can type us a chat.
So he can see us, but he can't hear us.
He can hear us, but he can't talk to us or video.
He can't talk to us. Okay.
He goes, it's nice to hear critique.
Here's Bernie.
Here's my
Yeah,
crocheted
I think he's
bikini.
with Bernie. But yeah, well, I think everybody did a fabulous job. And like I said, I just want to reemphasize when people say photography is not art, if you look at all those befores and afters, that's no difference than an artist seeing something and watching 5 painters paint a different scene. So yeah, great job.
I miss the photo walks, you know, where we all are taking pictures along something and there's not any identical images,
Yeah.
even though there's so many of us shooting the same thing. I love it. It's the same concept.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun, and I hope we'll do it again next year.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Great.
And I was going to say with the photo replacement too, they were done well. I've seen over the past month 2 occasions when folks posted photos online on the Outsiders Facebook group as well as on the Utah Nature Lovers, and it was the sky had been replaced and people excoriated them on Facebook because it was so evident. I mean, things like, you know, the sun's over here, but the light's coming from the other direction and things like that. So you really have to be careful with those things.
Yeah, I mean, some of the people that did it tonight, I didn't even notice initially that they'd replaced the sky,
right?
Because they did such a good job. So, but you're absolutely right, Donna. You've got to be aware of where was the sun when the photo was originally taken and where are the shadows on the buildings or the tractor, and replace it with something that matches the light that was there at the time. Otherwise, it can look very strange. Yeah.
Well, and I want to say thank you to Rachel for coming up with this idea.
Yes.
Yep. Good idea.
This was great, Rachel.
Thanks, Rachel.
And I think we had some people who were reluctant to participate at first, but the ones who did, I'm sure you got a lot out of it. And like I said,
Oh, that's Bernie again. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks everyone. And I think the people who didn't join and look in, they're going to be behind the 8 ball on the landscape contest next week or next month, excuse me. So, Barney, you joined late. I mentioned our speaker for June. If you want to tell us real quickly a little bit about him.
Yeah, well, Don Quintana has agreed to come, and if you're associated with NAMPA, you probably have come across his name. He works a lot with college and high school students and bringing them along their photography. He's a very pleasant individual. He's been out to the Tetons in Yellowstone, photographed there a lot. I know him personally, and he's an outstanding photographer. And I talked to him about spending some time about doing bird photography, but I'd certainly be open to feedback from folks as to what they want to hear him talk about. I told him that our main emphasis is landscape and wildlife, obviously, because of where we live. But if there are other aspects of photography that you'd like to hear him talk about, I said, don't just focus on birds, but please make that part of it. If there's something else, you can just email me and I'll pass it on to Don.
Great.
I think we're going to need a bird replacement tool. He's got to teach us how to just put a bird in a photo. I think we've set a precedent.
Yeah.
Did you say a bird, Rachel, or a Bernie?
Bernie bird.
A bird. Oh, God. Any excuse?
Okay. Gonna send in my
David,
throw in the 2001 Bernie. So.
David, has there been any talk amongst the board and whatever as to whether we're going to continue with Zoom through the summer or thinking about live or?
I think, in the short run, at least through the summer, we'll probably still do Zoom.
Okay.
I
think it's working out great.
Yeah. I think our real question is, once we go live, will we do a combo? And because
I agree.
Yeah. We'll have to work out how we do that. So, yeah, no, this has been good. Well, thanks everyone again. I appreciate the artistic nature of everyone, and I saw Pamela had a helper there, so maybe.
I have a couple of them. I've got my Malinois. I never say it right. The Belgian Malinois. He's next to me, and then I've got a little Chihuahua on the side. They're both kind of lick me.
Yes. Your inspiration, your muse.
Your muse.
But thank you for laughing with me. I you know what, I would never think to edit my own photos drunk, so it was a fun to like just chill and edit and just be free. I felt free, so thank you.
Yep. Well, we had yours and we had Lauren's 420 photos. So.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks,
everybody.
Rachel,
Thank
beautiful
you.
job, Rachel. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely.
Thanks for participating.
A great
Bye.
idea and some really great results. So, all right, we're going to end. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks, David.
So you